Alright boys, Pacers Thunder, we made it. Let's do this. So, the biggest thing to me is this Pacers high pace offense and Halliburton, Siakam, the spacing, the whole thing, versus this OKC amazing defense. But of course, the other side of the floor is interesting too. So OKC in the regular season was third in transition defense, according to NBA.com. In the playoffs, it's been a little worse. Not that they've been too concerned about it, I would say. My guess will be, as Halliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, TJ all try to push off of makes and misses, or Siakam tries to get his leak outs or whatever, I imagine that OKC is going to guard this stuff definitely better than the Knicks did. I mean, better than everybody has in these playoffs. And another thing, too, is while that pushing can sometimes just lead to baskets, it also can create mismatches. OKC doesn't have a lot of guys that you can really mismatch hunt. And so in the Knicks series, maybe them just pushing off of whatever results in, I don't know, Brunson is now on Siakam for a play and they can't switch it out. It's not going to be as easy to find that type of stuff in this series, unless like Isaiah Joe is in the game, I guess. I mean, there are some things, like if iHeart ends up on the perimeter after the Pacers push, or maybe Kaysen, who is a great defender, but Siakam has a size advantage on him, I don't know. So that's the first thing, but yeah, the Pacers, they're going to get their transition buckets, of course they will. The Thunder having better depth than the Knicks should help them out with everything the Pacers do as well. Of course, OKC is going to play very physically. They're going to dare the refs to call some fouls. I am expecting especially Nesmith and Nembhard to match whatever energy the Thunder are throwing out there defensively. We'll see with Nesmith's ankle, and hopefully the refs just let both teams play physical. Of course, there's a line, but hopefully it's just the same for both teams. I'll get to the SGA ref talk in a couple minutes here. In the half court, I guess my question really is like, is there one specific thing the Pacers can find that they can hit OKC with over and over again, right? Whether it's like Halliburton having success on iHeart and screens, whether he's dropping back, whether he's switching on stuff. Because maybe you'd prefer not to switch your big onto Halliburton, but sometimes it just happens, like it happened to Cleveland with Jarrett Allen, although I think some of those were by design until they were like, yeah, this doesn't work. Or, Cat in the Knicks series. This will be as Lou Dort or J-Dub if it was a switch, or Kaysen or Caruso are on Halliburton fighting around screens beforehand. But we've seen OKC drop iHeart's minutes if they have to these playoffs. And so what if it becomes Halliburton just having to lean more on going to Chet on screens? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be fun to watch. Is it Halliburton or Siakam trying to get like one specific switch on the floor? Or maybe it's just putting SGA in actions as either Nembhard or Nesmith, most likely he'll be on the most. Just set little ghost screens or off-ball screens just to make him move. That's what I'll be looking for the most. But a big thing with this is like, OKC, they go for their turnovers. They have their very aggressive help defense. They go for their deflections. And to do all this, they concede threes, especially corner threes. The Pacers have shot really well on corner threes these playoffs. And also, Halliburton just doesn't turn the ball over that much. He's averaging 2 turnovers per game in the playoffs. Yeah, he had 4 in the last one against the Knicks, but for the playoffs, it's 156 assists to 31 turnovers. And so whether that is Halliburton, Siakam two-man game, Miles Turner picking pops, Nembhard, Nesmith screening for him, whatever, as OKC's just reaching in and collapsing and daring skip passes and all that, or daring you to make the pass like behind you on the wing after you've already started driving, Halliburton should be more equipped than your average guy to deal with this, at least as far as making the right play, taking care of the ball, all that. As far as countering OKC as a scorer, well, that's interesting. I mean, as a passer, I think Halliburton has done pretty much whatever he's wanted to do these whole playoffs. As far as his scoring goes, in the Cleveland series, sometimes he's really killing Jarrett Allen on a switch, or in the Knicks series, having a lot of success putting Brunson or Cat in actions. But he has also had the games sprinkled in these playoffs where he just doesn't score that much. I mean, hell, it wouldn't shock me if OKC, by their standards, scaled it back a little bit to make Halliburton be a little less of a pass-first guy. And then you have anybody else having to attack versus this OKC defense. I mean, the Pacers' drive and kick game is great. This might be the one defense that can keep up with them. Now, as far as matchups go, I haven't even talked about Chet that much. So if we do a quick refresher of like the last game versus the Wolves, when iHeart and Chet are in the game, it's Chet helping off of Jaden, it's iHeart on Gobert, and it's J-Dub on Randall. If you want to repeat that for this series, you imagine it would be J-Dub on Siakam, it would be iHeart on Turner, and then it would be Chet helping off of, I mean, you could do Nesmith or Nembhard. My guess would be Nembhard because he's not as much of a shooter as Nesmith, but also Nembhard, they're both shooting incredibly well from 3 these playoffs. And when I say shooter, I really just mean from 3 because Nembhard does have that pull-up 2 game, right? And in specifically that last game against the Wolves, it was like Jaden was open for a number of threes where Chet, he's going to help, and then he's going to try to close out. And it's like, well, if you're not going to make those shots, you just don't really have a chance, you know? That wasn't the only reason they lost, but yeah. But through flow of the game and lineups, like all the matchup stuff's gonna get messed up. Like sometimes iHeart or Chet will be on Siakam or Turner. And when iHeart's not in there, of course, Chet will end up on Miles Turner some. That's fine. I mean, they could do a million things. Like they could have Caruso on Miles Turner sometimes. They could have J-Dub on Miles Turner. Looking at their last regular season matchup, like J-Dub opens the game on Siakam, but then as the game goes on, like he's on Miles Turner some, he's on Hallie for a bit, then he's on Nembhard for a bit, then it's back to Siakam. Also, Chet did not play in this game. So again, I ask if there's one specific thing that they can go to in the series that just works for them enough times in the half court. Like, hell, maybe it's Siakam. You just got to go cook one-on-one against J-Dub a few times. I mean, there was one specific game in that Knicks series where he basically just made all of the tough, like, 13-footers against, like, OG or Josh Hart or whatever. And, I mean, we saw in the Wolves series when Randall had his back turned to the basket, that's when it could get scary with just somebody coming out of nowhere in this OKC defense, Kaysen, whoever, to strip him. We'll see a bunch of guys on Siakam. I mean, could we see, like, Caruso on him at times? I mean, the dude guarded Jokic. I think at that point, there's endless possibilities. Yeah, he was fouling him. He'll be fouling guys in this series. So it'll be tough, and some of this is also going to come down to, like, you know, Chet is going to end up switched onto Halliburton sometimes, and Hallie, does he drive at him? Does he go with the step back? The answer is a little bit of both. Should also be said, the Pacers have shot an incredible percentage on corner threes these playoffs, and of course that is the shot that OKC concedes. Turner will get pick and pops with iHeart trying to close on him. We'll see just how scared of those OKC is. So we'll see. If I had to pick one thing that could just create advantages for them, it could just be like, as I said before, like putting SGA in as many actions as you can, double screens. I mean, SGA can guard, and there's certainly good defenders everywhere, but if there was one guy you were going to try to focus on here, it could just be him. Besides all that, I mean, we'll see with Obi and Ben Shepherd and TJ, and we get good Mathurin, not good Mathurin. Would I really give Mathurin a chance to operate versus this OKC scrambling help defense? No, not really, but we'll see. Okay, other side of the floor. Similar to earlier, the SGA ref talk will be a thing this series. He's just going to find some ways to get fouled. He's going to flail in a certain direction or whatever. Yes, a good amount of the fouls he draws will be totally legit, and the majority of his work is going to be him making, like, fadeaway free throw line jumpers, but okay. With OKC, I try to not have my only thinking be, will they put two to the ball on Shea? But that is kind of where I want to start, because, I mean, the closest we've seen to OKC being beaten these playoffs was the Nuggets selectively putting two to the ball on SGA, using the zone, daring OKC's shooters more, still trying to get good closeouts, of course. But the Pacers, I wouldn't say that they are the most willing to concede some more three-point attempts. Like, they were allowing like 35 threes attempted per game after the All-Star break, which is among the lower amounts. And if you go playoffs, it's the exact same thing. So we'll see what the Pacers do. I mean, between Nembhard or Nesmith, I'm going to guess Nembhard, but we'll see. Just really battling SGA as much as he can. They might want to try picking him up early on possessions, but we saw with the Wolves, it was better for them to actually just have Jaden back up a little bit, because SGA, you give him a runway and that's it. And even then, he was still cooking them. But if SGA is going to be able to work one-on-one or comfortably enough putting Halliburton in screen actions or just going at Miles Turner, dropping back on screens, or however high he's going to be up on screens, I just don't think you're going to slow him down that much. Unless Nembhard just does a fantastic job. And okay, look, Nembhard did a hell of a job on Brunson in that last game. And Nesmith was making Brunson work really, really hard to get around screens and all that, but SGA is just really good, man. So we'll see if the doubles come. We'll see if they just dare OKC to be more of a three-point shooting team than they'd really like to be, and you got to get good closeouts the whole thing. As far as J-Dub, I'm guessing whoever is not guarding SGA between Nesmith and Nembhard will be on J-Dub, which is why I more so picture Nesmith, because you know J-Dub likes to get into those really physical drives. And I feel like Nesmith has a better chance of staying upright on those. But who knows, it could be the other way around with those two. And as always with J-Dub, like, some of his opportunities are going to be off of extra attention to SGA. Some of them are going to be just, you got to work in a one-on-one. You got to go at Miles Turner dropping back on a screen. We saw him, snaking certain screens against Gobert in the Wolves series. And when J-Dub was looking his worst these playoffs at times versus the Nuggets, I think a lot of it was because he would have these very small windows to shoot a three or attack off the catch. And there would just be like this very slight hesitation. So it's either you don't hesitate or the Pacers do an even better job of having those windows be like even smaller. And then it just becomes, can you cook against, let's just keep saying Nesmith in a one-on-one. Other matchup stuff, I mean, Turner's going to be on whatever centers in the game, whether it's iHeart or Chet. If it's both, I imagine he's on iHeart. I think Siakam is going to be helping off of Dort if we go off of that last regular season matchup. And again, we will just see how much attention is given or not given to some of these shooters between Caruso, who's been great from 3 of these playoffs, Chet, Kaysen, iHeart floaters, Dort, the whole thing. Also, if they get beat on some like backdoor stuff where Chet or iHearts are getting open rolls or whatever, then yeah, you're definitely in a tough spot defensively. Anyway, who's my pick? I mean, it's OKC. You knew it was going to be OKC. But I've certainly been wrong about the Pacers a couple times these playoffs. I did pick them against the Bucks, but that was it. Sure, I said they'd give the Cavs a good series. Knicks, I think I picked in 7, but whatever. When you're wrong, you're wrong. But they've been awesome to watch these whole playoffs, and between how good they've been on corner threes, the fact that they, especially Halliburton, just don't turn the ball over that much, and with the way they push, I think they can throw things at OKC's defense that are a bit different. Like, I feel like your best chance is you got to have some outliers that other teams don't really have. The Nuggets have Jokic. The Pacers have everything that makes them the Pacers. But I'm still going to take Thunder. I'll say Thunder in 6. Anyway, that'll do it.